Now, NATO foreign ministers are in Brussels for a critical meeting as evidence mounts of alleged Russian atrocities in Bucha. The latest scene out of there is another disturbing one. 6 charred bodies reportedly seen by Associated Press and Sky News journalists yesterday. The head of police in the Kyiv region says one of those bodies was likely a child. Russia continues to deny the accusations, calling them fake, despite video evidence and witness accounts. The outcry from Ukrainian leaders is growing.
It's horrible. They was shot and burned after it.
I think UN failed, NATO failed, and criminal courts failed. So we will have to do it by ourselves, and we are ready to do it.
Every euro, every cent, what you receive from Russians or what you send to Russia have blood, is bloody money.
Joining us now, Yulia Mendel, former press secretary to Ukrainian President Zelensky. Yulia, thank you for being with us. You wrote a powerful Washington Post op-ed about the fear of more atrocities. What are you hearing from other areas in Ukraine?
Thank you for having me. First of all, 1,200 of war crimes have been registered already only from Kyiv region, and Bucha, for you to understand, is the settlement only for 30,000 of people. When we talk about such large cities as, for instance, Mariupol, that has been bombed for over a month and where people were blocked for all this time, there were 400,000 of inhabitants. And of course, we are really scared to understand that we need to see the consequences of this cruel invasion in Mariupol, and that things there can be much worse. Also, we know from our authorities, from General Prosecutor Office, Bucha was not actually the worst settlement in terms of war invasion and in terms of just another town which is in Kyiv region, and it was very difficult to get there. So today we're getting the first images from Borodanka, because we see that members of parliament and some advisors from the office of the president managed to reach there. Everything is mined there, and it's difficult because the roads are blocked and bombed and the bridges are bombed. So it was really very difficult to get. But the office of the General Prosecutor says that the things are much worse there. It's actually the genocide. This is how we feel it here, because we understand that Russia hates Ukraine just for being Ukrainians. And we hear from every part, either only occupied or being bombed, that Russia, they make just enormously illogical, painful things to Ukrainians because of aggression, because of hatred, because of anger. They just want to show their power with this type of behavior. And we cannot understand how a human being can behave like this. It goes out of any understanding, to be frank.
Yeah,
and the things that news that come from different regions are very stressful.
No doubt. You know, Yulia, my colleague Andrew Mitchell asked U.S. Secretary of State Blinken whether Russia's actions qualify as genocide. Take a listen to what he said.
The wheels of accountability can move slowly, but they move. And someday, some way, somewhere, those who committed these crimes and those who ordered the crimes will be held accountable.
Your UN ambassador, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, described these atrocities and compared it by extension to the Holocaust. Talked about what the Council of Mariupol had described. People forcibly, tens of thousands, taken from their homes, taken to Russia and put in camps. Isn't that the very definition of genocide?
Well, we have to get all of the information, all of the evidence. We have to, as I said, document everything that's happened, fully understand what's happened. It's an interesting irony in a sense. This is, in some ways, the most documented war in real time that we've experienced because of technology, because of smartphones, because of the incredible courage of reporters who remained in Ukraine. But even so, there are things that we're not seeing in real time, including Bucha. And it's only when that tide recedes that you see what's actually happened. So I think we're going to learn a lot more in the days and weeks ahead. I'm afraid that what we're going to learn is even more horrifying.
Julia, I mean, is this a modern day Holodomor that we're seeing in front of our own eyes?
Holodomor was a famine, so it's a little bit different, but it pretty much looks like Holocaust. In fact, what is happening right now, I understand that bureaucracy is pretty slow, so it's very difficult to get legally verified information so fast to all the world. Go through here. This is the first thing. The second thing, being so close to Russia, we get enormous information from Russian social media and from Russian formal traditional media, and we understand what they publish and what they share among their audiences, millions of audiences, is pure hatred towards Ukrainians. They don't consider that Ukrainians are humans that are worth living. And this is what we are getting every day. For you to understand that my news for today, my two houses of my grannies were bombed out. My summer house of my parents was robbed. They took away everything they could take away. And my fiance is on front line and he's being shelled. Thanks God he is all right, but I worry a lot. And this is just, an ordinary news that you get every day. Mm-hmm. And the issue is that we are sure that the world will need to understand that this is a genocide. This goes much farther than just an ordinary war crime. And we see that the information flows very slowly because the UN was saying about around 1,000 of casualties. And what we see, around 300 people are in mass grave. 300 people are in mass grave in occupied Kherson. 2-something thousand already were counted as casualties in Mariupol. It's much bigger. These are much bigger numbers that can be verified right now legally. So we expect that while the information will be revealed, thanks also to media, then we will see the real justice and we will be able to talk about the real steps, how to make Russia accountable for everything that it is horribly doing right now with our people.
Yulia Mendel, thank you for being with us this morning. I appreciate it.